Divorce isn't only physical separation, it is also mental and emotional separation that leaves a bitter taste for everyone affected. 1. When I was 8 or 9, my parents were driving with me to a restaurant when all of a sudden my dad slams on the brakes and stops in the road, out in the extreme boonies, so not a lot of traffic. He and mom turn to me in the back seat and say, "If we got a divorce, who would you want to live with?" I cringe and say, "I don't want to say." He says he's not moving the car until I'll answer. I cringe some more and say, "Dad." He grins at my mom and says, "I told you so." As he continues driving, she turns and looks at me and mouths the words, "I'm going to beat your ass when we get home." 2. One guy had his wife served with the divorce papers while she was in the hospital undergoing cancer treatment. She had no idea he wanted a divorce. 3. Not me, but a neighbor. The couple got divorced and she got the house in the settlement. Only the house in the immediate house lot, not the surrounding land, that went to the husband. The first thing he did was sell all the lumber off the rest of the land. She went from living in a nice forest to living in a clear cut. He wasn't done yet. Once the trees were gone, he sold off the topsoil, then the gravel under that. By the time he was done, her house was on a hill overlooking a barren landscape reminiscent of the lunar surface. This was years ago, and the place is still hideous. 4. One guy wanted a provision in his divorce that said his sons couldn't watch NASCAR because the wife's new boyfriend was into NASCAR. In the same case, the property division was so contentious that the judge had the parties list every piece of furniture in the house and try to work through who would get what. The guy made sure that he wanted everything she did, down to things like lace doilies her grandma made and some trophies she won in a women's shooting competition. I bought her the gun, so it's pretty much my trophy. 5. My dad is a truck driver, and when my parents divorced, I was seeing him a few days a year. He still tried to get full custody, even though he was never home, and would have to live with his young meth addict wife. He also quit his job a few months before and tried to get alimony. Both these attempts failed. 6. I was a secretary for an attorney. I think the most entertaining one was when a guy had to divorce his wife via newspaper because she wouldn't leave the house or answer the door for the process server. 7. My parents' divorce was finalized September of 2014, but the separation of assets is still open. The short of it is that my dad has always been really jealous. About 2 years ago, my dad got it in his head that my mom was cheating with a baker/police officer in our hometown, Mexico. He hired 2 guys to watch her 24/7s. They confirmed that she was cheating and said they had a video. Well, $8K and my dad's sanity later. There's no video and my dad is mentally ill. He hired someone else to unalive this baker/police officer. Thankfully, they too just took his money and did not unalive him. He started going to brothels and sexually asphalting women. He said he would leave my mom on the streets and has attempted to pay off judges. My dad was always a good, hardworking man. Now he is someone I don't know. Some say it's a midlife crisis, but the guy is 65 years old. I feel if it was a crisis, it should have happened years ago. 8. Divorce attorney here. The standard comment I make is that I represent good people in their worst moments. However, some cases seem like representing the worst people in their worst moments. I have a bunch of anecdotes, but the truly surreal case for me was a post-decree case was a husband sought reduction of his unallocated family support obligation after he was fired from a 6-figure salary as a public school principal. He was jerking off in his car while driving and was observed by most of the people in a school bus that was much higher than his car. The legal issue was whether his change in employment was in bad faith. After a 3-hour hearing, a court felt that it was. 9. Can confirm that family law can get you down. I did divorce and child custody litigation for 10 years. Not everyone is built for it. You get very, very good at building a wall between professional and personal life. It's tricky, though, because you have to still care about your clients. You just can't care so much that you burn out. You also can't be afraid to tell a client that he or she is being douchebag ridiculous and to GTFO of your office. That happened to me on more than one occasion.